Urzael is slain. Westmarch is saved. And yet these thoughts weigh constantly upon me.
Even amongst all the pain Urzael caused, we must savor what little enjoyment we can from our victory. It is all we have.
Wise words, my friend. Angels are cursed with a wider perspective of events. To live in the moment is a part of mortal existence I must learn to embrace.
This disaster will make for great reading someday, provided that anyone survives to chronicle it. How fortunate I am to have met the savior of Westmarch. You simply must let me ask you some questions when your work is done.
Tira's newly established rule over Westmarch did nothing to quell the civil war, which continued until she was driven mad and eventually killed by the plague. Cornelius, grandson of Justinian III and slave to the Zakharum faith, used this opening to crush the rebels once and for all and become the new king.
Rachis conquered all of Honduras before founding Westmarch. Repelling this invasion would be child's play for him.
There was no reason to dismiss Bryson. He was doing his best to help you.
He's a fool, and fools end up dead around here.
Ah, that is what I thought.
What are you talking about?
Your father, your wife, even your apprentice. You couldn't stand losing another person you cared about, could you?
You keep that nonsense to yourself, or I might forget how much I owe you.
I heard Liza's voice again, and I could make out more of what she was saying. She is calling out for me, but it sounds as though the voice is speaking to me from far away, from beyond our world.
Perhaps you were right before. Maybe it is a remnant of the Prophet's magic, but we do know for certain that she is dead.
No, she is alive. It's not just the Prophet's magic, and more than that, she needs me.
Chelsea, I know how to find Malthael, but you will not like what I have to tell you.
I rarely do. Why don't you just tell me?
There is only one person who knows how to find Malthael. She waits for you in the Blood Marsh, and you know her well. Adria.
Adria. Finally.
Adria is not as you remember her. She is channeling blood magic to prepare herself to retrieve the Black Soul Stone.
What exactly does that mean?
Some things cannot be explained. You must see them for yourself.
Why do I even talk to you at all?
You have no sense of adventure.
Everyone's dead. Everyone in the city is dead.
No, dear. That isn't true. Look, there's almost a dozen people here.
He's been saying something new, but I haven't been able to make out the words. He's getting weaker.
The witch!
There are no witches here in Westmarch. They've all been driven out.
Adria.
You're not going anywhere without me.
Oh, really? And why is that?
Someone has to make sure you don't kill Adria before you find out where Malthael is.
I shall try to restrain myself. But make no mistake, she will die. Why are the angels allowing Malthael to run amok? They could help us stop him.
There is confusion and dissension in the high heavens. You must remember, Malthael was our leader once.
So? That was the past. You're on the Angiris Council. Can you not summon the angelic host?
Imperius commands the host, and he will not unleash them on a fellow angel, especially a former member of the Angiris Council.
I should have known he was involved somehow. I won't forget this. I have delivered the city of Westmarch from Urzael and his reapers. The people are now free to rebuild their homes and their lives. Lorath and I depart for the Blood Marsh to find Adria. She, of all people, knows how to locate Malthael. I will take great joy in extracting that information before I kill her.
We hid the Black Soul Stone in the deepest part of the Nephilim world. Thought it would be safe, but Malthael found it all the same.
I consider myself an expert on all matters concerning boggits. The boggit itself is a small, odd creature given to foraging and burrowing. Under normal circumstances, it fears humans, but it can be incited to great violence when under the influence of magical objects. Rings in particular seem to excite them.
This is the entrance to the tomb, but someone's collapsed it.
Our friend Adria.
It looks like we'll have to find another way into the ruins. What was that? Just one entrance to the city. There are guide stones littered across the Blood Marsh that will lead us to the main one. The guide stones are useless to most, but will reveal the correct path to a Nephilim such as yourself.
The Trust Boggan is a
Nothing will keep me from ending your life, Adria.
Remember to get the information we need before you...
Yes. Information first, and then killing.
Well, that's not very reassuring.
The Trust Boggan is a ferocious, hulking beast with an exceedingly bad temper. Aided by packs of boggits, it will fight anything that crosses its path. Invariably, some of the boggits will die, but the survivors are rewarded with scraps left over from the Boggan's prey. If only my assistance would work for so little.
I have heard that the Grand Maester himself is in Westmarch. It is imperative that I find him. I will tell him of the sins his order is committing.
He leads your order. He is likely the most corrupt of them all.
No, you are wrong. My first memories of being a Templar are of him comforting me, welcoming me to the Brotherhood. I looked into his eyes. He is a good man, I tell you. These brutes to shreds. These creatures are usually fairly docile. Whatever Adria's doing has made them unnaturally aggressive.
Attack me?
This is one of the guide stones, but nothing happens when I approach it.
Please, allow me.
There are 4 entrances to the Nephilim city, each one etched with a sigil. Only the correct one marks the true entrance to the tomb, however. When you activate these stones, one of the wrong sigils disappears.
I believe my new assistant was the noisiest creature in the world, but that was before I discovered the Shrieking Terror. This bat-like monstrosity produces the most ear-splitting racket imaginable, and furthermore managed to make my assistant scream even louder. I think my headache will last for weeks now. Searching for the maggot brood has been quite an adventure. I first observed the corpse of one near the road to Westmarch, where it raised such a stench that my new assistant vomited twice on my favorite traveling cloak. The stains came out eventually, but I was sorely tense.
Your defenses are nothing! Marks the correct passage. This is the passage for which I've been searching.
The Flesh Shaman was created from the blood of the witch Adria. Because of that, the shaman is able to use magic as she does, channeling the power of blood and fire. Luckily, Adria only has so much blood to shed, and not for much longer.
The phantasms are unlike any spirits I have seen on Sanctuary. They bear a resemblance to lesser demons, but the souls of demons are always reborn in the hell. I suspect the phantasms may be the remnants of some early Nephilim, those born more demon than angel.
Yes.
Warming up.
I had half a mind to explore the ancient ruins outside Westmarch, and then I realized they were crawling with dreadful scarabs. Of course, these creatures do not frighten me, but they make my research much too time-consuming, and I am widely known for my efficiency. Am I not?
Didn't see that coming, did you? If my old masters could see me now. Your grave awaits!
fear feels anything more than what's rooted to the earth.
Didn't see that coming, did you? How does that feel?
I have uncovered and obscured an ancient tome in whose pages is recorded an impossible tale. The secret history of a race called the Nephilim, gods by another name, and their ruined civilization in the West. If this is true, how could all signs of these Nephilim be lost but for the record of this single tome?
Good.
I was separated from the other soldiers and surrounded by the dead when I saw him. I gazed into the face of death himself. I couldn't move. I just stared as he passed through me. His touch was like ice, so cold. But something in me changed. Something I cannot understand.
I can't stay here. I need to move on.
You can't leave me. Where will I go?
You should be safe here.
Please, just stay a few more days.
I am returning to town.
Ancestors, gifted with long life, magic, and abilities far beyond ours. Yet they were still men. I wonder if these pages hold the key to unlock their powers once again.
Laura, this is as far as you go. We will speak again when it is...
birthed these golems from the blood marsh, their bodies were formed from the water and earth of the marsh itself, while the venom of the marsh creatures gave them life. Their very skin seems to burst with the poison of this land.
Myself. You dare attack me?
Bring the light of Zakarum to the heathens. Here in the east, the power of Zakarum wanes, but in the west it will rise, stronger and greater than ever. Yet I have another purpose. The lost Nephilim city of CORVUS lies in the west. I will find it.
Your defenses are nothing!
warming up.
It would be nice to have Irena here with us. I mean, she's a good fighter to have by your side.
If only they could see me now.
I didn't think I could get any better. attack me!
I am returning to town.
Ah, good. Ah, good.
Where are you going? I have some good news.
Good news?
I mentioned what you did to some guards I met. You could get a commendation or something when this is all over.
Oh, that's fantastic.
All right, it's him or us. Are you ready?
I don't know. That glowing sword looks sharp.
I'm telling you, Lyria was so lonely, and Zai was so alive and full of life. They shared one perfect night, and after she emerged, blushing. Dirges raced to her side, but Zai was gone. The ruby around Lyria's neck was the only sign that he had ever been there.
Zai's conscience didn't trouble him for so openly taunting Dirgist?
No, not then. He felt pride. Dirges was possessed by an all-consuming rage. As Zai had stolen what was most valuable to Dirges, he would take from Zai all that he held dear.
Dirgist didn't kill Zai, did he?
Dirges took something much more dear than Zai's life. His joy. He killed everyone Zai had loved and held dear. Oh, then he slew Lyria. Her light went out from the heavens. The seas wept, and the waves of their tears crashed upon the shore.
myself.
I never knew that Rakis had an interest in the Nephilim. Strange.
Need more time.
Let's see where you've been hiding, Malthael.
Adria.
The angels will never suffer us to live. They cannot accept the fact that we may choose our own path. At least demons are not so rigid in their beliefs.
Demons don't concern us. We will choose our own.
Diablo sent me a vision. He had returned, and you... Diablo will return. I have done what I can to ensure it. He always finds a way. In your heart of hearts, you know this.
Ah, good.
Before she died, Adria conjured an image of pandemonium.
She was searching for Malthael, so he must be there.
I am returning to town. I have discovered that Malthael is in pandemonium.
No doubt he has gone to the fortress. Malthael can hold out there until the end of time. He is forcing us to come to him.
He hides and waits, hoping that if he can delay us long enough, he will grow too powerful even for me.
The only way to pandemonium is through the high heavens. Let us leave at once.
Lara! Peter!
Who are you looking for, if I may ask?
Oh, it's my children. They're out playing a game, but I'll find them soon enough.
I now know death better than I know the shape of my hand or my own sword. Hendel charged into battle at my side. I'd known him since I enlisted, but when I looked at him that night, I had a vision. I saw the faces of the men he had killed, and I saw that he would not live to see the morning.
According to the records, King Rakis had a strong jaw, hair as black as night, and wore gleaming armor over his muscular... Sorry, what was I talking about? Every time Westmarch is invaded, a hero appears to save it. History is much easier to write with a strong protagonist.
What is this?
Destroy the gate! The Nephilim is here!
Dares to attack us? Malthael is my brother. I fought 1,000 battles by his side, and I care not that he seeks to destroy you and your kind. But my brother has grown sick, and he must be put down for his own sake. Yet I have not the heart to do this. And so it falls to you. Come, Nephilim, to Pandemonium.
Malthael's attempt to keep me from entering Pandemonium simply confirms that he is still unwilling to face me. Now I must cross this blighted wasteland. Site of 1,000 battles between angel and demon. The Angel of Death awaits me in the Pandemonium Fortress on the other side. He will not be waiting long.
Good.
There is a siege camp not far from here. Meet me there, and I will show you what must be done. We do not have the luxury of time.
Why would Imperius want you to follow him? I don't like this. You will need to do better if you are to stand any chance.
The Ravagers were among the most fearsome soldiers of hell. Having grown accustomed to the taste of war, they remained in Pandemonium long after the last siege of the fortress ended. Now, they regard the realm as their own and terrorize any angels who venture onto the battlefields.
Good.
Pandemonium is a vast, chaotic realm, and many demons remain scattered throughout it. In particular, the war-scarred marauders were unwilling to return to the Hells, and they have taken to pillaging the remaining angelic outposts in the battlefields. They may not be the most powerful of their kind, but they are clever and insidious, and no strangers to war.
That is a seed room. Bring it with you. See the battering ram below. That is the only way you can breach the fortress gates. But it is useless without the siege rooms that power it. You have one in your possession, but there are two more. You will find them on the battlefield below, imprisoned along with the demons that carried them. Once you have the runes, go to the ram. But know this, Nephilim. Even if you release Malthael from his madness, I will not thank you for it.
Of course you won't. That's part of your charm.
Is a harsh realm, and its inhabitants must be resourceful to survive, but none more so than the scavengers who armor themselves in the very rocks beneath their feet. They may appear as mighty giants to their foes, but a few hard strikes will reveal that their true form is much smaller. Not all of the hazards of Pandemonium lie above ground. The tunnelers roam just beneath the surface, breaking through to snatch prey in their enormous jaws. And my heroic friends ask why I wish to stay inside the fortress. I suspect that the barbed lurker is part demon, for its appearance has an aspect far too sinister to occur naturally. It expels a noxious poison worthy of the Hells, and from what I can tell, it will only feed on its own kind or the corpses of demons. One hopes it will never encounter a human.
See me now. Not ready yet. You dare attack me?
Our just reward! monstrous creature!
Sorry they could see me now. Still waiting. Need more time.
It roams the outskirts of Pandemonium, a lumbering giant with a gaping hollow at its core. Somehow, it can hide its body away, disguising itself as a mere portal. Those who pass through it are trapped in a distant world, never to be seen again.
I need to go back.
I thought on what you said, and you may have been right. Can't bear the thought of another friend's death.
That's a spectacular plan, Hadrig. Spending your life alone, caring for no one, that will end very well.
It's better than the alternative.
We can't start to rebuild until we know that the one who caused this devastation is dead.
He will be, as soon as I find him.
I hope so.
Leave me alone. I'm getting drunk, and no, I'm not sharing.
Too bad. I could use some of that. You know, if anyone around here could tell you anything about that dagger, it would be Hadrig.
Give it a rest. The bloody Thieves Guild killed him.
You are so certain of that you would just give up? And here I thought you cared about the truth.
Nope. I care about drinking until I remember nothing.
If you're so bored, what are you fighting?
In the end, Zai trapped Dirges in the ruby Lyria had worn. Zai kept the stone around his neck as a reminder. In time, though, the burden grew too great to bear, and he cast off the stone. His divinity, everything. Where there once stood a young god, there was now just an old man.
An old man that bears a striking resemblance to you, perhaps.
So the story says.
We'll never see our friends again.
True, but we won't see that cobbler down the street again either.
Why, you're right. In fact, we're the only cobblers still alive. We'll be rich!
I don't think he will live much longer. Whatever secret he learned will surely be lost with him.
He saw Adria, but she is dead now.
No.
Why? Why would someone do this?
To protect her secrets and her master.
I see death everywhere. Even when amongst the living, I see the specter of endless night. But you are different. Death's shadow surrounds you. It obscures all else.
Rakus and his sons built much of Westmarch during their time. The ruins and the marshes outside the city may be their work too. Of course, whenever I ask the Crown for gold to further my excavations, there's always a more pressing matter at hand.
The Zakarum Church always held an unhealthy sway in Westmarch, even after the ascension of rulers more interested in power than religion. When the true nature of the faith was finally exposed, however, it completely eroded any influence the church had over civil affairs. And rightly so, I might add.
I tried to leave the city today, but the gates are all closed. The guards won't let anyone in or out.
What are you going to do?
Stay here and hide, I guess. I am a coward.
Stop that! You're a good man!
The people of Westmarch are starting to rebuild the city and bury their dead. Their strength is an inspiration. But there are children that witnessed their family being torn apart. Others climbed over piles of corpses to get to safety. What will they make of the world when they grow up? The city has scars that will linger for generations. Deckard Cain wrote much about the Pandemonium Fortress. He kept meticulous notes, drew sketches, and even made some maps. But nothing matches what is there now. The fortress has changed so much since Malthael took over.
Peter and Lara have been playing hide from the monster all day. Such imaginative children.
There are no children here.
I said they were hiding, didn't I?
I joined a caravan of refugees heading to Bramwell, but we never made it there. Brigands slaughtered everyone. I ran into the forest and hid for days before I dared come out. How am I ever going to find my son?